Hey, this is Justin Wells with Dano Septic and Baker Septic, talking about the changes with COVID-19 and how it's affected my businesses and probably everybody else's businesses as well, and some of the changes that we've made. And honestly, they're hour by hour and day by day still. But I think one of the most important things for me is having a calm crew and people that know what they're dealing with. And so I have told all of my technicians that are in the field doing service, pumping, inspections, O&M, whatever it might be, that you've been preparing for this your entire life. I mean, if you've taken the pathogens class, if you know anything about our industry, you know that this is nothing. Yes, it's new, but it's not something new when it comes to handling the waste. And that's why the procedures are there. And so in that respect, there is no change. And so it was important for me to make sure that my crew and my people were calm and aware of what they're dealing with. And that the reality is this is no different than anything else they deal with in that respect. At this point, our procedures are such that everything we do keeps all of us safe every day regardless. So some of the changes that we have made, this social distancing, the 6 feet minimum apart from each other, definitely has had an impact. I don't know how everybody else runs their company, but there are lots of times we got to send 2 guys on a job. There's an extra hand needed. There's lots of other things, but the problem became, you can't be 6 feet apart in the cab of a pumper truck or of a service van. And so we had to restructure a little bit of how we're handling that. That was a definite change, and maybe our cost internally will be a little higher, but what we do is essential. People need to continue to have flushing toilets and not have polluted waterways. And so being able to go out and still service that customer if our cost is a little higher, that's a decision we made to do. There were lots of discussion amongst our company of maybe some of those jobs be put off, but we made the determination it was worth it for us to go ahead and get those jobs done either way. So as far as my office is concerned, we have a sign up on the door indicating that the office is closed to the public. We are advising all of our customers in advance that we can leave the invoice and any necessary paperwork for the customer on the porch. We can collect a credit card ahead of time with our system and run payment afterwards and handle it all electronically, so there's no face-to-face interaction. We actually had to move desks around a little bit so that everybody was 6 feet apart. The copy machine, the scan copy printer, we hadn't even really thought about it, but it was next to someone's desk. Well, then every time somebody was walking up, you were breaking that 6 foot. So there's a helpful thing to kind of think ahead on how you do that. And the trick was getting it moved without having to call the IT guy to re-network it and change all that kind of stuff. So we pulled it off. Hopefully either you don't have that problem or you can do it without the IT guy. So another bit with the office, depending on how many people you guys have, but for us, it was keeping the office folks and the technicians not in the same building at the same time. And that was a big change. We don't want to have a gathering of over 10, is what they're saying. Honestly, I'd like to keep it as low as possible. And so having, honestly, I'm running around and I'll get things from the office that the technicians need and meet them outside or at their station and that sort of thing, so that the paperwork and bringing the paperwork in for them, that sort of thing, just to avoid cross-contamination in that regard. I've sent out multiple emails with updates, and again, trying to keep everybody calm and realize why we're an essential business. And the biggest thing I told all my employees is that, man, the poop jokes maybe will stop for a little while. Oh, you work for a poop company, ha ha ha, number 2 business, all these jokes, but man, I'm happy we're essential. I really am, and I want everyone that works for me to be happy that we're essential and proud of what we do, and proud to take care of people and maybe we're not making as much of a sacrifice as people in the medical industry, but putting it out there that we're doing what we have to do to keep everybody safe and healthy. And that not only means doing our job, but it means doing it in the safest way possible. As far as our technician changes as well, we still want to greet our customer. It's good to see a smiling face from your company. So we do go up to the door, we knock or ring the bell, and then we're instructed to take a few steps back. That way when they open the door, you're keeping that distance, and then again offer to leave the invoice on the porch for them, and you know, be able to answer any questions, and even offer, especially if it's an elderly person or someone that's a little more concerned, offer to even call them from their own driveway and just say, hey, I can call you from the driveway, and that way we can talk about you know, the conditions of your system or the work that was done, and go over it that way. Another thing to remember here is that, you know, grocery stores are open, gas stations are open. Our industry should be open. You know, go to the WOSSA links and website, and you can get the information to make sure you're registered as an essential business. But luckily, this industry we are. But the reason those things are open and considered essential, I think, is an important thing to remember, and I remind all my employees of that through this crazy time we're having, which is, you know, this virus is not inevitable. Okay, it is avoidable. It is not a guarantee you're going to get it if you take the right precautions. Nobody's immune, but if you take the right precautions, the risk can be low enough that it's okay for grocery stores to be open. It's okay for gas stations to be open. And it's okay for us to be out there keeping our waterways clean and keep people's toilets flushing. So, you know, having the right perspective goes a long ways in dealing with a crisis like this. And, you know, if you haven't had the policies already set up, you're probably scrambling a little bit to get it put together. A few of them we had to scramble to do, I know, but you know, it gets you off on a good foot when this all ends, because again, it's important that in a lot of respect that especially when we're dealing with the waste, that those practices don't change after this is over. Some of them can, but some of them shouldn't, and that's important. So, you know, in conclusion, it's tough times, it's different times, but in a lot of ways, we're the best industry set up to be able to handle this kind of thing. WOSSA is here to help us, which is a huge asset, and so am I. If anybody is struggling or has questions about policies or anything, I'm happy to be there and help as well. So thank you very much for your time.